Fishy friends, it's me, Ariel. I hope your day's going along swimmingly. And if you would like to hear my story called The Little Mermaid, you can swim up to the thingamabob that you're watching this on, and we can get started. So what does every good story start with? What words? Once upon a time, can we all say that together? On 1, 2, 3. Once upon a time, deep under the sea, the merfolk and sea creatures hurried to King Triton's glittering palace. Ariel, the king's youngest daughter, was going to sing at her first concert, and no one wanted to miss it. King Triton settled on his throne. Sebastian, the court composer, tapped his baton and instructed the orchestra to begin. When the time came to introduce Ariel, she wasn't there. Ariel had forgotten all about the concert. She was miles away doing what she loved, searching for human treasures with her best friend Flounder. Ariel and Flounder explored the sunken ship. Have you ever seen anything so wonderful in your entire life? Ariel asked with a gasp as she held up a silver fork. Yeah, it's great, Flounder muttered. Now, let's get out of here. Flounder was a bit nervous about being far from home. He's a little bit of a guppy, isn't he? Ariel and Flounder swam to the surface to find Scuttle, a silly seagull who claimed to know all about the human world. This is a dinglehopper, Scuttle said as he examined the fork. Humans use these to straighten their hair out. And just then, Ariel remembered about their concert. My father's gonna kill me, she cried, and she quickly swam home. When King Triton learned that Ariel had missed the concert because she had gone to the surface, he was furious. He believed humans were dangerous. You are never to go to the surface again, he commanded, and Ariel sulked and swam away. When the king asked Sebastian to keep an eye on his daughter, Sebastian followed Ariel and Flounder to the secret grotto filled with human treasures. I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here, you think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the people are. I want to see 'em dancing, walking around on those, what do you call 'em? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down a, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world, right? And then the little crab overheard Ariel say how much she wanted to be a part of the human world, and Sebastian was horrified. He tried to talk some sense into Ariel, but it was no use. Ariel swam back to the surface as a ship sailed past. Peeking over the side of the ship, she spotted Prince Eric. The little mermaid couldn't take her eyes off the smiling young man. He's very handsome, isn't he? She said to Scuttle. Suddenly, a fierce storm struck. A lightning bolt set the ship on fire, and a huge wave swept Eric into the sea. Ariel managed to pull the unconscious prince to shore. She sang to comfort him until the sounds of approaching humans made her dive back into the water. Eric only caught a glimpse of Ariel's face, but he knew he would remember her beautiful voice forever. The next day, Ariel swam around in a daze. She was in love. King Triton followed Sebastian to his daughter's grotto. He watched in rage as Ariel sang to the statue of Eric that had fallen from the ship. Contact between the human world and the mer world is strictly forbidden, he thundered. When Ariel confessed her love for Eric, Triton used his trident to destroy all her treasures. Heartbroken, Ariel went to see Ursula, the sea witch. Ursula promised to make the Little Mermaid human in exchange for her voice, but there was a catch. Eric had to kiss Ariel before the sunset on the third day. If not, you'll turn back into a mermaid. And you belong to me, Ursula cackled. But Ariel was frightened but determined, so she agreed to sign Ursula's contract. Ursula ordered Ariel to sing. The Little Mermaid's voice was captured in a seashell. Then her tail disappeared. In its place, she had legs. Quickly, Flounder and Sebastian rushed her to the surface and helped her get up shore. Ariel was delighted with her new legs, but Sebastian was worried. Should he tell King Triton? The soft-hearted crab knew Ariel would be miserable without Eric, so he promised to help her win the prince's heart. Flounder and Scuttle said that they would help too. If you want to be human, you have to dress like one, Scuttle explained. He and Sebastian wrapped Ariel up in a ragged old sail. Just then, Eric's dog Max bounded across the beach. The prince followed close behind. You look familiar, Eric told Ariel, but when he realized she couldn't speak, he knew she wasn't the girl with the voice that had rescued him. Eric took Ariel to his palace, where his friendly servants cared for her. They cleaned her up and gave her a lovely gown to wear. Ariel looked beautiful when she entered the great hall to join Eric and Sir Grimsby for dinner. The prince was speechless. During dinner, Eric and Grimsby were amazed to see Ariel comb her hair with a fork. They didn't even notice Sebastian peeking out from the platter. Eric thought Ariel was charming and invited her to spend the next day with him. The following day, Ariel had a wonderful time exploring Eric's kingdom, but there was no kiss. As day turned to night, Eric took Ariel rowing in a lagoon. While they floated, Sebastian, with the help of other animal friends, orchestrated a love song. Prince Eric gazed at Ariel. He leaned closer and closer, his lips almost touching hers, and he didn't kiss the girl, did he? Splash! Ursula's nasty eels, Flotsam and Jetsam, tipped the boat over. Eric and Ariel fell into the water before they could kiss, and there was only one day left. Down in her cavern, Ursula was watching everything in her magic bubble. That was too close, she said. It's time I took matters into my own tentacles. With a nasty laugh, the sea witch transformed herself into a beautiful young woman named Vanessa. Around her neck, she wore the seashell that had Ariel's voice. Triton's daughter would be mine, she exclaimed. Meanwhile, Eric was on the palace balcony, wondering if he would ever find the mysterious girl with the beautiful voice. Suddenly, he saw Vanessa and heard her sing with Ariel's voice. The prince instantly fell under her spell. The next morning, Scuttle woke Ariel and congratulated her. He had overheard that Eric was getting married that very day. Ariel was ecstatic until she learned the truth. Eric was marrying Vanessa. The wedding ship departs at sunset, Eric told Grimsby in a dull, lifeless voice. Ariel cried. Not only had she lost her true love, but she would become Ursula's slave. Once aboard the wedding ship, Ursula laughed wickedly. She thought her plan was working perfectly. She didn't notice Scuttle peeking through the porthole where he saw her true reflection in the mirror, and he rushed to tell Ariel, the prince is marrying the sea witch in disguise. They had to stop the wedding. Ariel clung to a barrel and Flounder towed her towards the ship. Sebastian raced to find King Triton. Scuttle asked for help from as many friends as he could find. The sun was going down on the third day, and they had to move fast. The wedding had already begun, but before Vanessa could say her vows, Scuttle and his friends came to the rescue. Birds yanked Vanessa's hair, dolphins sprayed her with water, and Scuttle pulled her shell necklace from her neck. As the seashells shattered and splattered, Ariel's voice flowed back to her. The Little Mermaid could speak. Eric, she said. Finally, Eric was released from the spell. You're the one, he exclaimed to Ariel, but it was too late. The sun sank beneath the horizon before they could kiss. Ariel had turned back into a mermaid. With a flash of lightning, Vanessa transformed back into Ursula and pulled Ariel into the sea. King Triton appeared and ordered Ursula to release his daughter. She's mine now, Ursula said, showing him the signed contract. Of course, I might be willing to take you in exchange. To save his daughter, Triton agreed to take Ariel's place as Ursula's servant, which was exactly what the sea witch had wanted all along. Ariel watched in horror as her father shriveled away. Ursula grew larger and larger, and she used the king's trident to stir the waves into violent whirlpools. "Now I am the ruler of all the ocean," she declared. Luckily, Eric had a plan. He climbed aboard the sunken ship, and it was rising in the waters, and he steered its jagged bow through the sea witch's heart. With a howl, Ursula disappeared, and her spell was broken. King Triton and all of the others she had tricked were free at last. But Ariel was a mermaid and could never live on land with Eric. King Triton watched as his daughter gazed longingly toward the shore and her true love. With a sigh, he touched his trident to the water, and Ariel became human once again. King Triton smiled tenderly as he watched Ariel reunite with Prince Eric, and not long afterward, Ariel's friends and family cheered at her wedding. At last she was a part of the human world which she loved, and she would live there happily ever after. Thank you all for reading along with me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Maybe one day you could come visit me either on land or in Atlantica, and we could play lots of different games with Flounder and Sebastian too. Have a magical day. Goodbye.